First and foremost, coming off the Minnesota series, kind of how big was that as far as finding out what kind of team you had this season?
Yeah, you know what? It was a big, hard, heavy series, pretty rich, right? In the fact that you're playing against a really good team and playing on an Olympic-sized sheet, and I think we found out a little bit more about ourselves as a group. But really like the resiliency, obviously the intensity, but the resiliency and the battle level in our guys, whether you're up in a game or down in a game. And I think our team grew through the overtime loss and obviously through the overtime win here from that weekend. So it was a good standpoint of building our foundation here a little bit, and now we move forward.
How do you keep the emotions level, going from a rivalry series in Mariucci to the Hall of Fame game? How do you avoid any kind of emotional drop?
Well, again, we talk about it extensively, right? About living in the moment, hopefully winning a game like we did on Saturday night, enjoying it for a little bit and then putting it behind us and then focusing on the next job at hand here. And, our guys, our ears are up here. I think we left something on the table in Nashville last year. I think whether it's being a little wide-eyed on that destination game experience or whatever have you, but we didn't play our best. And I think that's motivation enough, knowing that, hey, we had a lot of fans that spent a lot of time and money that went down to Minneapolis, and guess what? They're turning around and they're going down to Vegas again here. So there's an obligation on our part to make sure we're ready to play and playing against a very good team.
Does the preparation change at all going from your normal 2-game series to a single game coming up? Does that kind of change? Do you guys change how you do things?
Yeah, I just think from a standpoint of having an extra day of practice and training and just trying to make sure that we accomplish the things we do with only playing one game. Hey, it's one game. We got to pour everything to one game right now. You don't have a situation of coming back and playing another night, and it's a Saturday night game here. So we kind of adjusted a couple things we did this week, but at the very least, we kind of maintained how we do things as far as our process of training and preparation through the week.
I know after Nashville, you wondered if there was too much for the guys beforehand. Do you guys adjust how you?
100%. That's a great question, Brad. And again, I think Jody Hodgson and his staff do an outstanding job here of putting on this event. It's nobody ever does it in college hockey like they do it here as far as those destination games. But part of that is, giving the fans the experience, and part of it is giving our players that experience. And I thought, I think probably Jody as well agreed that it was probably a little bit too much. And what I mean by that is, we went to that Wild Horse Saloon that night. Our fans were there. It was packed. We go on stage, and it was a moment where our guys got caught there a little bit, I think. And I think what we want to do and to have success is really try to experience it, but minimize those experiences where it might take away of your focus a little bit. And we've got a really detailed and really kind of focused itinerary or agenda going down there, knowing that it's a business trip and knowing that you want to have a little bit of that experience. But at the end of the day, we're going down there to try to win a game.
So I assume you're leaving Fremont to the fans on Friday.
100%. 100%. That'll be a fan experience, not a student athlete experience.
Coach, just talk about your power play and just how successful it's been for you this season.
Yeah, it's been one of the lifebloods of our group here of having some success. I think to have success in a 60-minute game, you have to have a lot of things going. You have to have your 5-on-5 play being sharp. You have to have your power play, obviously, trying to click and score a goal or two. And your penalty kill has to try to eliminate as many opportunities as you can. So I think our specialty teams have been very good. In saying that, our power play, Carl Gearing's done an outstanding job of preparing our guys, whether it's through pre-scout, whether it's through each and every day going on the ice and doing a component of the power play and these guys buying into whatever comes at them. And, part of that is getting in your 5-man groups. Part of it is maybe getting into a different spot on the power play and adjusting to that and being flexible and open-minded in doing that. So done a good job so far, but guess what? At the end of the day, we're going to be playing a team that's obviously probably pre-scouted us and knows what we do as a team, and we got to make sure that we're sharper than the other team.
I was going to say, Saturday especially, your power play is kind of what changed the game.
For sure.
Does that give you a little bit of confidence, though, when you know you're successful?
For sure. The teams that have success during the year and at the end of the year, those are the teams that, when you're leading games, you add to that lead, through a power play. When you're down in a game, a goal or two, if you get on the power play, can your power play get you one or two to spark momentum? Well, guess what? They did in the second period on Saturday night. They sparked momentum for us. You know what I loved about it, too? That goal on the power play that made it 2-2, the next shift, sending the Jammerdick and Hayne went out, boom. We scored another one right after. What's our our response after we either score a goal or give up a goal. We want to have that next shift. And I thought that power play led to our 5-on-5 play.
And on the other side of it, obviously last week it was chippy. The Hall of Fame game last year was chippy as well. How do you stay aggressive but out of the box?
Yeah, you have to get your toes to the edge. That's the old Gino Gasparini line. You know, you got to get your toes to the edge. You can't jump over and be undisciplined, and you can't be 5 feet back and be on your heels. You got to be right on the edge, and there's a balance there, and I think that's an obligation of us as a staff, an obligation of our leaders and our players on holding each other accountable to that. And when you go play on the edge, guess what? You're first on every puck battle. You're first in front of the net front play. And again, we always talk about playing inside the dots. You're first playing inside the dots as far as owning that area.
You were 0-3 on neutral ice last year. That includes the Hall of Fame game. Is that something that you've talked about at all with your staff? Or?
Yeah, well, you know what? We really tried not to focus on the neutral site. You know, we're the home team. We get last change, but in reality, it feels like a road game too. So we kind of just approach it as, hey, we get last change, but we're in a road environment, knowing that we'll have a lot of fans there. It's not a venue that we play in all the time, and it's like a road venue. And sometimes in a road venue, you got to simplify.
You alluded to it earlier, but not really any other team can experience 3 destination games in 4 seasons, I guess. Just what does it mean to your program that you can have fans from all across the country come to this and your players experience this?
Well, you just alluded to it as far as having fans that'll let you do that. You know, if we didn't have the fan base or the following, it wouldn't be a success. It wouldn't. You know, we just as well play in our rink or play in a road venue in a non-conference setting. But since we do have the loyal and faithful fan base that will support it, it's a great experience. Usually it's every couple of years, and it's a situation now where this is probably the last one for a while, and we want to try to make the most of it in a great facility at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Going back to the power play, I noticed a few times you have Blake and Gaber on swap flanks. Is that on purpose, or is that?
Yeah, it is. I think a little bit. I think it's one thing that you go into a Friday night game and you go into your look, and then obviously if you have success or if you don't have success, you try to make an adjustment or two because the other team will do it. A situation where if they're kind of keen on one person on the power play, you want to try to maybe move them in a different spot and maybe catch them, and they have to make an adjustment. So, and that's what I was alluding to earlier on here in the press conference is the power play has had success because guys are open on being in different spots, and Carl's done a great job of kind of putting guys in different positions, and those guys working at it, having success at it. If you're not open-minded about it and you're set on one spot and you're not giving it your all, your power play isn't working very well. We've got guys that have team-first mentality and they're willing to play any spot and play hard at it.
What have you been liking out of Chris Jandrick? One of the, I think maybe the only player in the country that has a point in every game so far this year.
Just his energy, his intensity, his compete level. Like, he loves to play the game, and a lot of our guys wear their hearts on their sleeves as far as throwing everything on the table. He's one of those guys, and he was. We were all feeling a little bit low after that. We were up 2-1 with a minute and a half left, and then we lose in overtime. We're all feeling a little bit low that we all left something on the table a little bit, and I know he was probably one of them. But at the end of the day, oh man, on Saturday night, I thought he was unbelievable in the fact that the last 10 minutes of the game, we always say play to win. Let's play to win. Let's make sure we get after it. He was getting after it. Like, he had a ton of energy. It was a hard, heavy series, and he still had a ton of energy, and you could tell, him darting in and out of the offensive zone, him going back through the neutral zone, snapping pucks up on transition. Looked like he was, it was effortless, and he had a ton of energy, and that's what you love about him. He competes hard every night, and he gives you his all.
You were saying after Friday that you felt like some guys needed to give more and
Yep.
step up. Are you feeling that now, almost 7 days removed, that everyone's all in now?
Everyone's all in, yeah, 100%. And you know what? At the end of the day, we have such high expectations on each and every night about guys playing, bringing their A game. But guess what? Some nights maybe it's not happening for somebody for whatever reason. And that's what, when you play against teams like Minnesota and some high-end teams, top 10 teams, everybody has to be pulling the rope. Everybody has to be playing at their best or close to their best in order to win. And I felt that we had some guys that weren't at that level on Friday night. I thought we had a lot more guys on Saturday night.
What's it like knowing so many guys from so many different eras come to these types of games in Vegas, so many former players that...
I think when you look at over the years, the tradition, the history, the culture that we have in our program, that I've had so many calls and texts saying, "Hey man, I'm coming to the weekend game in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're looking forward to it. We've been looking forward to it a long time. And by the way, win the game kind of thing, you know. But at the end of the day, I think it's great. You know, all different eras. You just talked about it. You know, Kerry Eads coming from Fargo with all Paul Chadwick and Mark Chorney, and you know, every different era has their group of guys that came through North Dakota, and it seems like it's their weekend to bond together as a class, right? You know, there's a golf tournament going on for those guys that our guys aren't taking part in, but all these other alumni are going to be golfing and they're going to be spending time with each other. And I think that's the beauty of North Dakota hockey, right? You come and go, but at the end of the day, you stay connected. And this is one event that's going to make our former players stay connected.
What do you expect out of Arizona State?
No, yeah, good team, hard team. They've got some offense. You know, they've got some good players in their lineup that have grown over a 3-4 year period. They have some good freshmen coming in, but they also added through the transfer portal in a bunch of different positions. And they're a team that have depth, that can get up and go and play fast, and they can create a lot of offense. They gave Colorado College a ton of problems as far as the way they play. So again, it's a situation here. We're playing against another good team, very good team, and we're going to have to be ready for sure.
I was just going to say, the Sun Devils have a penalty kill right now about 77%. They've let in 7 goals past 8 games on power play for the other team. How will that impact UND's focus on drawing penalties?
Well, that's a great point. I think we have to earn drawing penalties, right? Like, I think we have to play a fast, heavy, hard game to make them to draw penalties, right? At the end of the day, if we're not playing fast and we're not playing in those areas, they probably aren't going to take a ton of penalties. We have to force upon them to take penalties, but at the end of the day, I don't really look at analytics of where they're at early in a season on penalty kill. All I know is they're well coached. They've got really good players. They're going to be ready as far as especially teams in 5-on-5. Our obligation on our team is to concentrate on how we can accentuate our power play, how we can get better, how we can make changes in the middle part of a game to try to have success here. So I always look at what the other team is trying to do, but get more concerned about how we have to get better and how we have to play.
So 3 of the last 4 games have gone to overtime, last one getting that big win, also an OT. What can you say to the resiliency and the endurance of your team throughout that many games stretching out longer?
Well, again, I think it's playoff hockey right now. Like, at the end of the day, you know, we're only a few games into the season, but it seems like we're in playoff hockey. Like, every game is going right down to the end. You mentioned 3 of the games going into overtime. That's what playoff hockey is. And I tell you, it sharpens you. And we always say iron sharpens iron, man. We've been playing against some good teams, and we've been getting sharpened against other good teams here. So it's going to help us in the end. We're still growing and building. You know, we're not a finished product. We're going to continue to grow and build and get better in some areas and keep getting better in some other areas. But at the end of the day, I think we're going in the right direction here.
In particular, going off that question, what have you learned about the team's mental toughness in this challenging early stretch?
Well, we got a lot of grit. You know, we got a lot of grit, a lot of mental toughness in it. Like, that was a series. You know, when you go down 2-0 on Saturday night after losing a tight one on Friday in overtime, could have went one of 2 ways, right? Our guys dug in, and obviously there were a couple incidents in the middle of the period that happened that gave us momentum. But at the end of the day, our guys stuck with it. And you have to have some mental toughness, and you have to have some grit to do that. And I think it comes from leadership. From the guys, the captains in the locker room that wear a letter, the older guys in our locker room helping the younger guys out. That's how you get through it.
Sorry to circle back to the power play.
Yep.
Kind of along that. How do you make sure your team doesn't become too reliant on the power play? On that red hot power play?
Get better 5-on-5. Get better 5-on-5. You know what? It's funny because, you know, each and every year it's different, right? Like, last year I felt our 5-on-5 play right out of the get-go was super strong, and then we were finding our way on the power play, right? And we got better, and I thought we were better towards the end of the year. But now it seems like our power play is clicking, right, on all cylinders, and our 5-on-5 play right now, we're finding our way here a little bit. So each and every year it's a little bit different right now, and that's the beauty of it. We're still early here, and now the good thing is we can get better on 5-on-5, and we will get better 5-on-5, and we're going to continue to strive to get better on the power play as well.